It is not an attempt but a reality, Dele Momodu replies Presidency on open grazing law in Southwest. Yesterday, the Presidency frowned at the open grazing law that the Southwest governors made, which restrict the activities of herdsmen in the region. Some days ago, the Southwest governors concluded that henceforth, herdsmen won't be allowed to lead their cattle to open grazing again, and that if anybody wants to rear cattle, it should be done in a modernized way. The Presidency felt this might be against the constitution that gives Nigerians the right to move to any part of the country. Presidency felt the Southwest governors are just trying to demonstrate their power as the governors. But then as governors, they do have power in that region, though. It's a bit contradictory. Well, reacting to this speech, Dele Momodu, who was a former presidential candidate and also a journalist, made it known that it is not an attempt but a reality and that the cattle business is not superior to other businesses in Nigeria. He made it known that government has little say on private businesses. All right. I mean, again, very true. Cattle rearing is not superior to other businesses, and open grazing is the ban on open grazing is not a ban on grazing in general. The fact is, you can't. I don't understand why there should be any opposition to it, given that or given the fact that there has been clashes and criminal activities, majorly done 90% by herdsmen barging into private property, private land, which is the farms that these farmers own, and then have the audacities to still harass the owners of the farm. So I need to search out what open grazing is. So, in Western United States and Canada, open range is a rangeland where cattle roam freely regardless of ownership. Land in open range is designated as part of herd district, reverses liabilities, requiring animal owners to fence it in or otherwise keep it on the person's own property. Exactly. So again, it's like the logic of open grazing in the country, it's just not sustainable. Well, for the south of the country. But of course, in other parts of the world, of course, they call it different names. However, you can do it as long as the area you have or the area that's going to be used for grazing is fenced and owned. You can't go and barge into someone else's property and, use their crops as feed for your animals. Absolutely does not work like that. And to be honest, it's just the presidency feels I don't understand when it comes to actual issues. Well, this is an actual issue. I mean, to be honest, if they wanted to help anything, they should have been firm in apprehending, herders who were basically breaking the law and being criminals. It's as simple as that. It is not that. Like, I don't understand what other reason, why should there be a ban on, because again, for the logic of the presidency is that the ban on open grazing in the Southwest now is a way for the governors to exert their power as governors, but then they do have a power as governors. I don't understand how that makes sense. So yeah, it's so tiring, this conversation. Like, are we actually joking? We are literally trying to convince leaders that open grazing should not be a thing. Like, how did we get here? It is very, very embarrassing. It really is. How? It doesn't make sense. That's it. It doesn't make sense, and it's so tiring. Why are we trying to prove? Or if they've banned it, they've banned it. If you're offended, well, that is your problem. It is you deal with it, okay? It is the law. It has been passed. We move on. And English, please. Open grazing is not a ban on grazing in general. You just can't be open with it. It's literally in the word. It has to be on your land and on your property. That is it. And I don't understand why, because as Dele Momodu said, cattle rearing is not a superior business to others. So if you want to come with the argument of, as a Nigerian, you're allowed to go where you want, and we can't. We have to be honest and say that, of course, the cattle rearing thing and obviously grazing is ingrained in the nomadic culture of the Fulanis, and absolutely fine. That is fine, but the South is a different place. To be honest, it's like two different countries in one, and we have to understand that the laws apply. Because you want to say that we're blocking, the Northerners from coming in, but then are you trying to assume that all Northerners literally cattle rearers? Like, okay, we understand, yes, it is a very popular business. However, you can't commit a crime and then say because you are jobless that's why you committed a crime. It doesn't make sense. And again, that's the way in which the government tries to justify all these kind of things. But yeah, someone says, what is presidency? That's a strange lexicon in our political jargon. If we don't have a human president, then why should we let the whole world know about a shadow president whom we can only see running away to no destination? Again, that is very true. When you say the presidency, it's not direct. You're basically assuming that it is a board, basically more than one person. You're basically describing that a set of leaders representing the government feel this certain way. However, it is not direct. There's no direction. When you say the presidency, it's like, what is the presidency? And I understand that, and I think that it is very much, suspicious. And again, they have to use the presidency because Buhari is not saying anything. So anything that is said on behalf of him is described as the presidency, not necessarily the president said. Do you get? I hope that made sense. But yeah, I mean that's basically it, to be honest. So again, it's just like that. It's so true. It is very, very true. Why the presidency? But then again, it's just so tiring. Like, we're grown. Well, we're not grown, but it's just so petty. Like, there's literally no reason why we should be going back and forth on this topic of open grazing. Like, you should not. Because all this would not have happened if, the government did what they could, or the police force or security agents were literally on the side of the victims, which are the farmers, because their livelihoods and everything is being gone. And some have been raped, some have been kidnapped, some have been beaten up, so many things have happened. And the fact is, they're being let off. The herdsmen are being let off. And so it's just a bit like, how can you let these people off for doing... it's so bad. Someone said, it is wonderful and difficult to understand why Nigerian presidency continues to side up with Fulanis at the expense of the majority of other Nigerians, in spite of the glaring criminal tendencies of the Fulanis. Truth is always godly. Well, we're in Nigeria here. Like, let's be realistic. So again, it's just like, please. First of all, it's so tiring. It's very, very unintelligent. If you understand that there are different cultures, okay, fine. You don't want to say something is local, or you want to have modernized way of doing certain things. If that is what you choose to do and it works and yield results, fine. But if it is at the expense of another person, it's not right. And for the fact it's being passed as a law, well, we move, deal with it. Please. I think this level of mediocrity in the country, where we do not follow everything full through 100%, allows for things like this to happen. Doesn't make sense. But what you think, and don't forget to like and subscribe.